In the last episode, we heard from Luke Schneider, founder of Fire Department Coffee, and we talked about how to build a team driven by purpose with a clear mission to drive growth. Now, today, get ready. I'm chatting with Jessica Kalikman, the marketing director at Aster the Label, a Los Angeles-based fashion brand. And today, well, we're going to talk about how to grow through affiliates, but through the lens of a fashion brand. I'm your host, Raphael Paulin-Daigle, and I'm the founder of SplitBase. This is Minds of Ecommerce. Now, for today's episode, well, we're sponsored by SplitBase, of course. Now at SplitBase, we help leading 8- and 9-figure brands such as Dr Squatch, Amika, Hyperice, Manduka grow through customer-focused conversion optimization programs. Our programs pinpoint exactly where your store is losing money most, and then we help you fix it. The result, increased conversions, higher AOV, reduced acquisition costs, and of course, more money, which allows you to scale advertising profitably. So if you want to learn more about how to increase conversions through SplitBase, go to splitbase.com and learn how we can help you get the most out of your marketing spend. All right, Jessica, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I know you guys at Aster have grown quite a bit through affiliates. And you've had some pretty interesting strategies, I believe, as it's been one of your biggest acquisition channels. So I'd love for us to dive a little deeper into that topic today, and maybe just to get started and give our listeners a bit of context. Can you tell us a bit more? How do you guys do affiliates at Aster? What are the types of affiliates you work with? What does a typical affiliate program look like for the brand?
Yeah, for sure. So at Aster, we approach affiliates kind of in three buckets. We have the traditional affiliate platforms, so those that customers would probably be aware of are like Capital One, Rakuten, Retail Me Not, websites like that, where
Mm,
customers are typically using them as either plugins in their browser or actively searching more like discount codes or codes to shop some of their favorite brands. There's also the affiliate side of PR. So traditional PR is not really what it used to be, especially in the fashion industry. And a lot of the outlets right now are, driving their business based on affiliate relationships and affiliate links with other retailers. And so that's become a huge part of I would say most brands' PR strategies really
mm,
need to focus on the affiliate side. And the last thing is influencers. And this is the biggest part, I think, where there's the most growth potential and where we're really, I would say, directing our efforts. Influencer gifting alone is really unpredictable and not
mm.
very attributable. You're not able to really see who's driving what, how much they're driving, where they're driving to. It's a very much, a spray and pray tactic where you're gifting
Right.
a bunch of people and seeing what sticks to the wall. And now with the affiliate side of content creators has grown so much, I would say, in the last 10 years. I've been working with influencers for over 12 and it's been really interesting to see like the business that it's become and the influencer economy. And I think working
Mm,
with platforms, affiliate platforms, particularly like Shop My and LTK, has
yeah.
really been able to help us grow and understand that side of our business.
Okay, so you've got three pillars. Now, that third pillar, I think, is probably the one that people hear the most about or think of immediately when they think of an affiliate
Yeah.
program. But let's say, for example, that first pillar with discount codes and affiliate sites. Actually, before we get to that, what's like the percentage? Are we looking like, most of the affiliate is in one bucket or more in the other? Do you find like there's one that's better than the other in general, or it's really pretty much teamwork when it comes to affiliate strategies?
I don't think there's a perfect ratio, and I think it changes and it
Hmm.
varies based on also where we're putting our efforts. Obviously, the first bucket is not, I would say, the priority just because of the effect it has on possibly like diluting the brand. We don't want a million promo codes, running around. I think it's
Yeah.
important to be part of our strategy. I think we need to play in that game, but I wouldn't say it's where most of our effort needs to go. I think between media or PR and influencers is where I would prioritize, mainly because another thing that is becoming more and more relevant is having your brand be featured in articles and places like that allows
Mm,
your brand to show up when someone is searching on ChatGPT what to wear to a wedding. We get,
right,
we show up in those agentic searches. And so that whole strategy didn't, and that whole, you know, those tactics didn't exist 2 years ago. So things
right.
are constantly changing. And so that ratio of where we're spending our time and effort and budget, I think will continuously change as the industry is changing.
That's interesting. I'm curious here. So you're talking about, for example, yeah, getting seen in search, not in search engines, but in answer engines at the end of the day, in ChatGPT and so on. Is that becoming a pillar of the strategy? I know we're just starting to see that, but you're mentioning it. How much are you thinking about this as a fashion brand on a day-to-day basis? Because I know in B2B, this is something that's definitely being discussed. On the e-commerce side, we're talking about ChatGPT with social, with AI shopping and so on. I'm curious, what's your take on this, and what's the strategy so far?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's in progress. There's still so much to learn, and there's so many, agencies and vendors that are popping up that are also
Yeah.
still learning because there's not much, historic data for it. But it's a huge priority for us. I think especially our target customer is about 25 to 35 years old, and they're using these platforms for every aspect of their life. How many
Mm,
memes do you see of women in that age range talking about how ChatGPT is their therapist, is
yeah.
their nutritionist, is their travel agent? And so why not, what do I wear on a first date? What do I wear to a job interview? What does it mean garden formal wedding? What's appropriate to wear there? That just helps us show up for them in the places that they are. And especially as a D2C brand who has a huge presence in wholesale, it's really important for us to not only, rely on our wholesale partners, which are great to have and a great distribution channel for awareness. We have a job to do too, showing up for our
Yeah.
customers so they can shop directly from us, especially because, we have styles that are exclusive to our website and an opportunity to give them, something different than what they're finding in some of our partners.
I'd love to know a bit more about the media strategy that you highlighted a little bit. How do we go about that? How should a brand think about that? Is it just like, hey, let's try to get media mentions? Like, where do you start?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're still figuring it out. I
Yeah.
think there's not like a super clear action plan or answer to that. We're working with a lot of partners and meeting with a lot of potential
Mm,
partners who are experts in that. And so it's about finding for us the pages that generate the most traffic, the outlets that generate the
yeah.
most traffic that are, there's sites in particular like the Knot and Bride.com, who women trust and go to for advice and for recommendations where we can show up for them. And so while we also have opportunities organically to be featured and to build strong relationships with those media partners, it's also important to include that on the affiliate side as well to really ensure that we're showing up in the right place for the right time
Mm,
also. It's seasonal, the same way there's obviously the seasons within a year, but there's also what I call wedding season. And
right.
that's
Right.
really like March through June is our time to shine. And that's where we need to
Mm,
show up for the right people in the right places. And that's really what drives that media strategy.
got it. And then let's talk about influencers. You've been working with influencers for over 12 years at this point. Um, is there anything you think, as you've worked on this brand and have seen, I'm sure, a lot of brands approach affiliates with influencers? Are there strategies that you feel at this point in 2026 just doesn't work anymore? The landscape is evolving fast. I think there's likely some aspect of trust that is also changing quickly with AI and influencers. What's working in 2026?
I find when you're using influencers, there's two ways to use influencers. There's from a pure content creation standpoint. So you're really just looking for additional content to support your product. So whether that's
Mm,
just for your social feed, whether you want imagery for your website or your email of real people in real life wearing your product, there doesn't need to be any metrics or KPIs attached to that that will measure if that was a successful initiative or not. And in that area, I think things are still working. Where it's not working for us is where we use influencers and content creators to drive sales, but
Mm,
don't have any attributable factors to see what they're doing. And so the way it used to work would be that you're just reaching out to influencers. You know, when I first started, there were no DMs on Instagram. We were emailing their blog spot emails, and then it came to DMs, and then it came to some are represented by agencies or whatnot. But it's simply either in a earned way of we have product we want to gift you, no guarantee if you post or not, no problem, but we think you would look great in our brand, here you go, or paid where it's we want to gift you this product, you're obliged to do X, Y, and Z. We have usage rights for this many days for these many channels that we want to use it. And sometimes if we see a spike in either the product they're wearing or traffic on our site, we can maybe attribute it to them. But there was no real opportunity to see that when someone wore this dress and we made 30 sales on a Sunday, it was because of
mm,
that person. Now, with the affiliate side of things, we're really able to see who is making a difference and who is moving the needle. And in
yeah,
a lot of cases, it's not the huge influencers that you think of, the people that we would pay big money to.
right.
It's the creator who has 20,000 followers, who's a full-time lawyer, but a part-time content creator. And people really trust what she's wearing to work every day, and that's what they're buying into. And so I think that's kind of like revolutionized the space and become really one of a not so secret, weapon anymore for brands.
What's the approach to gifting? Because obviously we're talking about a slightly more micro approach, which I've been hearing as well from a lot of brands, right? But of course, right, you have a limited capacity for gifting as well. And if we're working with more micro influencers, that means maybe more gifting and it's more of a volume game than say if you're working with a couple really big ones and it's just a couple gifting things here and there. So, what's the approach? How do you decide who to work with? How many people do you have to work with for this type of approach to work? And do you gift everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say we give to everyone. We definitely need to be a little strategic with
Mm.
we're not, a beauty or supplement brand where we have hundreds of
Right,
product in a stock room that we can just give away. And it's a one size fits all type product. We
right.
obviously have size runs and colorways and things to consider. But since joining the team over 2 years ago, we've significantly changed our gifting strategy. And now I'm involved in the buying process. And so before we close out a collection, we'll allocate gifting units right at that point. So I know 6 months ahead of time what we're investing in. And
Mm,
we decide that from a brand level of like, what are our priority styles? How big do we want to go? How much do we want to invest in? And then not only are we adding gifting units, but often we'll reflect our buy as well. Because if we believe in it and we're
yeah.
gifting it, we hope we can sell more of it. And so it's really changed the way that we buy product. And then we gift on multiple levels. So we have a PR agency who helps us with gifting more macro influencers and VIP celebrities. They're in
Mm,
touch with stylists for celebrities who are doing press tours or interviews or editorial photo shoots. And that's how we get our brand placed in those areas. And then internally, we take care of all, I would say, mid to micro level influencers. We probably do about 70% is earned gifting. So there's no paid attached to it. There's no guarantee from anyone. It's just in kind and hoping for content out of
mm,
it. Most of them are still through affiliates. So they're obviously incentivized to wear and post because they get commission off of sales that they make. And then about 15 to 20% is, or 20 to 30% maybe, is more paid. So there's a more strategic intent behind it where we're really working with people who we've seen have really engaged audiences, whether that's on their Instagram broadcast channel, they have a Substack, Instagram stories, they get a lot of clicks and links. So that's kind of the way that we split it up.
mm.
But at the end of the day, for us, the priority with content creators is driving conversion. And so we need to make sure that we can hold them and us accountable for every item that we gift.
Yeah, amazing. So at the end of the day, how do you keep them accountable and how do you track that? There's a lot of tools these days. Now, obviously, if the influencers work and they all have an affiliate link, that's one thing, but it sounds like it's not always going to be the case, right? So how do you guys measure that?
Yeah, I would say predominantly it is through the affiliate platform. So the majority of the gifting that we do is through the Shop My platform, and they have an incredible dashboard that allows us to really be able to track who is linking to what, how many clicks they're getting, how much volume they're driving. It's also in the back end of our Shopify, and so every order that's made from Shop My gets tagged, and so I'm able to see at the end of each month not only, how much was purchased through ShopMy, but how many people used whose codes for what items. And the most fun for me is at the end of every month when I can see a direct correlation to someone wearing something, and that's the thing that got sold the most. And you're really
Yeah.
able to see that's how the influence was made. And so we do track it mostly through there. There is still, the assumption and the guess of when we see a dress or a top or a jacket that did really well, but there was nothing really else happening. But someone wore it. We recently had a dress. There was a dress that was on Emily in Paris, and there was a whole Reddit thread of what is this dress? I need to find it. It actually wasn't our dress, but someone thought that it was, and it was like it created this entire, more or less campaign for us without us doing
Love
anything of
it.
people of like higher search for that dress, sales for that dress. And it was great to be able to be a part of an unintentional pop culture
Right.
moment that we're able to attribute, one thing to another. But there is still that kind of mystery. There is a bit of a black hole sometimes when it comes to measuring the success of influencer gifting. And I think that's kind of just something you have to live with and just,
Yeah.
hope for like that halo effect of, I know that it's great coverage that we got this. While I can't exactly see the direct correlation, I know that from a brand equity and affinity standpoint, that was the right move. And so, I'll still consider that a success.
Yeah. I think us marketers have gotten used to being able to measure almost everything. And I think it's
Hmm.
hard sometimes, right, to realize that, hey, I actually can't measure this to 100%. But,
Yeah,
sometimes you just got to trust the process. I'm curious about
exactly.
product selection, right? Because, a skincare brand, for example, pretty straightforward. They have their hero products, and then you send the products, like you said, they have a bunch sitting in a warehouse, and it's said and done. But when it comes to fashion, you've got a lot of different styles. Different styles may match with different personas. It's a bit more complex. So, how do you decide which products to gift? Is it really just a question of what you feel works best with this influencer? Are there hero products that you're pushing? How does it work?
Yeah, I mean, it actually varies, and you kind of yes to both of those things
Yeah.
and more. It really depends. We often gift through a line sheet, and so sometimes it's a curated line sheet based on what we're putting, volume behind. But there are definitely priorities within that, but we're giving a lot of the time the freedom to choose whatever. I think in any case and with any content creator for any industry, forcing them to do something that is out of their comfort zone or not what works for them will never do well. So if someone is, a jeans and t-shirt kind of girl and we're trying to push a maxi ruffle floral gown, it doesn't work. And so we need to kind of match what we
Yeah.
have to them. And with that, it's really being strategic in, especially when it comes to paid. If we have, tons of dresses coming out that are white and we're really speaking to the bride, we don't really make wedding dresses, but we make like for every event leading up to. So for your bridal shower, your engagement photo shoot, your rehearsal dinner, all of that we have. And so we're going to find 10, 20, 30, 40 women who are getting married this year. And they will be the recipients of these dresses. And how do we work together? Can we gift you for an upcoming event? Do you want to do a try on of what do I wear to my bridal shower? Like there's so many content opportunities. So it's really about finding the right people for the product. And since we have so much product and since the creator economy is so big, there's definitely like you just got to think about how to match the product with the person, and there's like
Right.
endless opportunities.
So, slightly more work maybe than a skincare brand, but that's part of
Yeah,
the magic. We've been talking with Jessica
fun.
Kalikman from Aster the Label. Now, Jessica, this was fantastic, incredibly actionable. Now, if people want to learn more about either the brand or want to connect with you, where should they go? What should they do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, our brand is on Instagram and TikTok at After the Label. And you can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Jessica Calican.
Great. Jessica, thank you so much.
Thank you.